These two met in the quarterfinal last year. Glasgow are going to be hoping for two things. One, keep 15 men on the field, and two, a better performance. My name is Mark. Let's talk rugby. Okay, so Glasgow versus Munster. We've already, done a preview of both semi-finals in terms of, the form of the teams, how they got here, history in knockout stages of this competition, etc. So we're not going to go over that ground again. We're going to talk about the teams have been selected, and then I'm going to revisit my prediction and see if those selections have changed anything for me. So we're going to start with the home team, Munster. Munster then, fullback is Haley, right wing Daly. I thought Phil Daly played excellent in the quarterfinal. He's been in really good form recently as well. We got Frisch and Nankivell in the centres there, so those two reunited in the centres. They were really good kind of in the middle part of the season. Injury then keeping them apart, in the run-in now. So this is the first game really in the certainly in the knockouts, but in the run-up to the knockouts as well, these two have actually been in the midfield together. Zebo, who has been having an excellent, final season for Munster, and the guy looks as good as he has for years as well. Crowley at 10, looked very assured in that quarterfinal win, and it's a good thing, I think, for Munster to see that he's able to handle the pressure and basically just guide his team to what was a fairly comfortable win. Casey then at 9 there as well. Crowley gets a lot of credit, but Casey there in at 9, I think he's had an excellent season as well, and I think he's pushed his case as well for more representation for Ireland. Then front row, you got Lockman, Niall Scannell, and Archer there too. They've struggled at times in the scrum, so they'll want to start well in this one, I think, and really just set it out so that they don't have to. It felt like in the second half, it was really changing the front row, help Munster to get party, and then begin to actually get a few more penalties as well in the scrum themselves, so that they'll want to kind of not get that impression from the referee this time that they're causing all the trouble. So we'll have to see how that goes. Second row, then you got Finian Wycherley and Ty Byrne. Byrne has been really back to form this year. I thought he had a bit of a slow start to the season, but now he's really come on. And Wycherley there, he's basically been a great squad player for Munster, right? He's always kind of in around there, and being able to just do the job that's asked from him as well. Back row, then you got Peter O'Mahony, in there, and he's massive for a team at this stage of the competition to have in there. Just that nous and that ability to guide his team around himself, but also get under the skin of the opposition as well. And if there's any kind of doubt in Glasgow's minds as well, he's just going to multiply that as well. Then you got Hodnett and O'Donoghue there in the back row, and those two have been excellent this season as well. Onto the bench then, we have Barron on the bench. I think Barron's done well when he's had to come in for the team. He got a few starts again in the middle period of the season as well, and he looked really good. Then you got John Ryan there, he's going to come in and do well, and Ollie Ager as well. So they've got decent options in terms of changing the front row. Then you got Sneyman. He seems to play better from the bench for Munster for the most part. But then again, most of his appearances have been from the bench anyway. So maybe it's just a bias towards that, because you see more of him, with 19 or whatever on his back than you do kind of for, simply because most of his appearances have been from the bench. But I think, yeah, he's going to be great impact for him. And then Gavin Coombs as well. It's hard to stop that guy getting over to score a try from close range, and Glasgow might have to do that to actually protect the lead or to stop Munster from killing the game off, depending on how it's going. Then Murray there replacing 9. So I think he's been excellent this season. He did drop off kind of certainly in the run up to the World Cup, and this year I think he's definitely been better than he was last year. Got O'Brien there then, who's probably might come on maybe in the centres, because I'm not sure if both centres are actually going to make it to the end, or you might see maybe Crowley shifting out to 12 or something as well if he comes on, and then you got Kendall in there as well. So you got like a 6-2 split from Munster. You can see there's a lot of impact to come off the bench there as well. I think more than, like, I just did the Bulls versus Leinster one. I think in terms of just positive impact from the bench, I think to probably more on the Munster bench, just in terms of how close the guys on the bench are to the guys who are starting. I think in the Bulls and Leinster case, I picked out 3 players each, but here I think you can see Ryan, Jaeger, Snyman, Coombs, Murray and Kendall, and all definitely coming on, and having positive impacts on the game as well. Murray obviously a very different 9 to Casey, but he has that ability as well to just close out a game and make sure that you're playing in the right areas of the field, and maybe just be in Crowley's ear when he needs it. Not that I think that Crowley needs it. I think Crowley is kind of one of these, like, an old head on young shoulders kind of thing, that is to the manner born, etc., and whatever other cliches you want to throw out about him, but that's just the way the guy is, right? So that's our Munster team. We're now going to have a look at the Glasgow team. So Glasgow team, starting from the front row, we got James Batty, who again I think has had an excellent season. Johnny Matthews, top try scorer in the URC, and not just on the back of them having an excellent maul, but the fact that his positioning in that maul and making sure that he doesn't get isolated, and when he does break off, he picks the right time, and he has that impact off the back as well to get over when he needs to. Xander Fagerson, I think since he's come back into the team, has been excellent as well, and kind of the run up to the playoffs. Scott Cummings and Richie Gray. It's great to see Richie Gray back playing. He's kind of a lot of effect from injury and stuff like that, kind of curtailing his season, and then in there with Scott Cummings as well. I think it's excellent locking partnership. You got Matt Fagerson in at 6, and then he's beside Rory Darge and Jack Dempsey as well. So you got a really nice back row there. I'm not sure, like, certainly with Fagerson and Dempsey there at 6 and 8, you're going to get a lot of kind of or you should expect at least a lot of go forward in the carry. But then it's going to be interesting to see in terms of breakdown work and stuff, who's going to take on the majority of that. Obviously, Roy Darge is going to be the threat at the breakdown, but I'm talking about the kind of donkey work, on your own ball and stuff like that. Which of those two is going to take on the majority of that? Then you have George Horn at 9, who has been in really good form. He's got that snipe about him, and he always wants to kind of keep the game going. He's really quick, in terms of thought as well, and just making sure any opportunities are there, that if he can, get the ball where it needs to go. Tom Jordan, was sent off in the quarterfinal after 25 minutes last year against Munster, so obviously wants to stay on the pitch longer than that. And then obviously, the guys had a really good season. I think he's certainly been better this season than he was last season. Not to say that he did a bad season last season, just that he has improved. Then Kyle Steyn, brilliant captain, I think, for Glasgow, and he knows his way to the try line, but also he gets in there, puts in some good hits as well. The centre partnership then, Tuipulotu and Jones, still don't think they're at the level that they were in the Six Nations. Was it last year? I think it was last year or the year before. But when they were just sensational, whatever year that was. But they're getting back to that. They're getting back up to that level. I felt like for a while, for both Scotland and for Glasgow, that they were playing more as individuals for whatever reason, and now you can see that the partnership is there again. You got Sebastian Cancellieri, who came back into the team again at just the right stage, coming into the playoffs, and he's been a real addition in that backline as well. Josh Mackay, who has impressed me right from the start of the season. He was excellent in the early rounds, and he's kept his place in the team as well, and come up with some really good scores, but also some really good defensive stuff as well. Some good covering tackles, and some solid work in the air as well. Onto the bench then, we got George Turner, who would probably, like, after having that breakthrough season last year, really, with Scotland, finding himself on the bench behind Matthews a lot of the time as well. So he'll want to have impact coming off the bench. You got Ollie Kebble and Murphy Walker as well. So you might think, certainly in terms of experience, like that, apart from Turner, that maybe the Munster replacements for the front row probably have a little bit of an edge there. So let's see if that actually works out like that, because sometimes you think that, and then the guys come on, and it's the guys that you think won't do so well are actually just murdering them in the scrum. So we'll see how that works. Max Williamson there as well. You got Ewan Ferry, Henko Venter. He scored his first Glasgow try. Was that last? That was last week, right? He certainly is. The last couple of weeks, I think it was last week though, his very first try, for them, what a time to score it. And if you can come off the bench and score a second try, and then like for it to be the winner or something, the guy's just going to be an absolute legend. Jamie Dobie, and then Ross Thompson there as well on the bench too. So some decent impact for them off the bench. Again, I'd probably give them the edge to the Munster bench in terms of who I feel is going to come on and have more positive impact on the game, in terms of the confidence of bringing the player on and feeling like that they can change the game around for you. I think would be more on the Munster side, but not too much between them. Having said that, so I think what's going to really determine this one is having looked at the selections now, and we already, as I said, we already talked about the form coming in, the fact that Munster haven't lost now since January 1st. They lost to Connacht over in Galway, and they haven't lost since then. And I think the main factor is the fact that this is being played at Thomond Park, because Glasgow haven't lost at Scotstoun since that defeat to Munster in last year's quarterfinal. So I think the venue is going to be a big deciding factor in this, and because of that, I'm sticking with Munster to win. But I do think that Glasgow fans will be proud of the effort that the team puts in this, and I think that quarterfinal win last week against the Stormers is going to really stand to them as well. I think now they've shown that they can deliver in a knockout stage in the URC, that they're definitely going to deliver a performance, but I just feel like that Munster have that little bit of an edge. Okay, so that is that one done, and I'm going to see you guys on the next one.